But this is a disease that no one should die of.
I've got several letters, many letters, of people who had the examination, found out that they had polyps that need to be removed.
Cancer screenings are simple and easy, and they can save your life. It saved mine.
I'm Bill Beam. Colon cancer tried, but it couldn't kill me. Bravery in my mind is being able to stand by your convictions, even if they're not popular, and to be able to stand up to adversity. I have one daughter, Mary J. Beam Kick, and any day I'm going to be a grandfather to Ethan William. I found out about my cancer while working at the Olympics in Salt Lake City about 5 months before the games. I had some fever episodes and knew that I probably should get that checked out, but didn't. And it made me angry at myself for putting my family through what they went through, to putting my employees, my employer, so many people through what I put them through unnecessarily. The way I see colon cancer, there are 3 options. Once you're diagnosed with it, you survive it, you don't survive it, or you can prevent it. I beat it, but I could have prevented it. But this is a disease that no one should die of. I think I'm going to be a good grandfather because it's a life-changing experience to all of a sudden hear that we've got good news and we've got bad news. The bad news is it's not good news. And then the reality sets in and you think of the things that you could have done, should have done, and maybe you wouldn't be here. And I still have that guilt, that terrible feeling as I laid in that hospital bed, thinking that that report might come back and I'd have to look at my wife or daughter and say that the doctor said, if we'd just seen you 6 months ago, a year ago, or if you'd gotten a colonoscopy at 50 years old, we'd have good news for you. And I was convinced that that's what I was going to hear, and I didn't, and I think about it all the time. I don't want anybody ever to face that again. That was my only, you asked me about fear, that was my only fear, of having to look my daughter in the eyes and say that. And as I sit here right now, I think that fear comes back to me to think maybe I wouldn't have been here to see Ethan William, my namesake.
I'm Crit Llewellyn, and colon cancer screening saved my life twice. I just became fascinated by the whole political process and the thought that you really can make a difference in people's lives by serving in the public sector. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's true. But you know, my mother's generation believed that cancer was a death sentence. And they didn't want to know the outcome of tests. And her cancer was discovered when it was too late in the process because of that attitude. And you know, that's the most important thing we've got to think about as we're getting the message out to people about cancer screening is it's no longer a death sentence. If you can catch cancer early, we can take the proper steps to cure and treat early stage cancer. And we have to get more people to understand that's the screening, that's the magic bullet now. It's our ability to really get in there and discover exactly what the problem is early enough to take care of it. My doctor had encouraged me to get a colonoscopy when I turned 50 because my mother had died of colon cancer, and I put it off for a year. So I finally went in and had it, and they found the colon cancer immediately. And I was completely shocked. I had had no symptoms, I had had no problems, I had no inkling that there was a problem. They did a colon resection, removed a significant portion of my colon. And I didn't have to have any follow-up chemo or radiation at that point. The doctors were very optimistic that they had taken care of it. You know, I think we're all, when we're young, believe we're bulletproof and believe that we're going to be here forever and that health issues belong to other people, and that's not something I have to worry about now. So I had never had any health problems. I went through the recovery from the surgery and went back 1 year later to have my 1 year checkup, colonoscopy, and they found a second, totally unrelated cancer. I think the important message for people to understand is that cancer screenings are simple and easy, and they can save your life. It saved mine.
Kentucky wins the tap. Look at the Kentucky faithful. For Joe Hall, it's been a tough year for a man who has coached a team to 29-2. He said it yesterday, pressure consistently on me to win, and I have to win this one.
Joe B. Hall led one of the most storied basketball programs in the country. He followed a legend and became a national champion.
And that's going to be it. The University of Kentucky are the basketball champions.
He built a legacy relying on preparation, intensity, hard work, and strategy. But the biggest personal battle of his life came down to one thing, something every basketball coach knows you have to win.
I wasn't smart, but I was lucky.
It was 1988, 10 years after his national championship over Duke. The now retired coach was in Canada, enjoying his second favorite sport.
I hemorrhaged while I was up there fishing, and they picked me up in a helicopter, flew me to Kenora, where there was a small hospital, and one doctor, as he scoped me, I said, "What is it?" And he said, "Well, I'm 99% sure it's cancer."
Coach Hall came back to Lexington for surgery, where the news got better. They caught it early. The cancer hadn't spread. But even before that good news, the coach knew the outcome of this challenge was out of his hands.
You take things as they come, and you deal with them, and that's kind of the way I looked at it. Whatever was to be would be. The time of my surgery was coincided with the reunion of the 1978 basketball championship. So the worst part of my whole surgery was missing that celebration. But a lot of my players, or all my players, came over to St. Joe's Hospital where I had the surgery, and were there to visit me in the room. So I still had a little celebration.
For a man who had spent his career in the public eye, his battle with cancer was also a public one. The newspaper featured a detailed description of Hall's disease and surgery, complete with a diagram.
So everybody got to see at least a drawing of my intestines. And but you know, the awareness that created was something that was very satisfying to me, because I've got several letters, many letters, of people who had the examination, found out that they had polyps that need to be removed, and so hopefully many of them avoided the seriousness of having the real cancer.
Joe Hall spent much of his adult life teaching and coaching, and he still delivers an important lesson for those close to him.
Believe me, I see to it that my children and my friends, I warn them, and everybody should have that examination, which, by the way, is painless. It's not anything that's going to make you uncomfortable. Just takes a few hours of the day to go over and be prepped and have the examination, which is really the easiest thing you'll ever do, and maybe one of the most important.